Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible. Those who are using chat box can confirm that I'm audible, and then we can start. Yes, I can see some of you have already confirmed that I'm audible. So today we are going to see a leadership development framework that is developed by me, primarily for people who wants to develop or transform their career to the next level. And I'll go through that through a presentation. Meanwhile, uh, I'm waiting for 1 more minute for more people to join. But I'll give you a gist as how this framework came in existence. I was exploring with the different leadership development frameworks you might have heard of, you have 7 habits of highly effective people that is converted in leadership training. Then you have six thinking hats. You have a lot of other trainings from Stanford, Oxford, MIT, Sloan. So I was exploring all this. Apart from exploring these training programs, I also explored almost 200 best-selling books on leadership, human behavior, personality, and transformation and evolution. And after doing all this research, I realized that normally we take leadership as a very complex subject, but in reality, it could be very simple. And my framework is based on that, which is already tried with 50 plus people. I'll get back to that as well. So now as we have more people, let me share my screen and go through what I have. Yeah. So I'll share my screen and go through this journey as how this framework came in existence and what you can get out of this framework. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Yeah, I could see yes. So let me share that. Before we go to the framework, here's the gist of what I have been doing in last 10 to 12 years. I have spoken to 100 plus venues so far, primarily to MBA colleges and also to corporate gatherings. I have spoken to IIM Udaipur and Symbiosis Institute of Business Management, Narsi Munji Institute of Management, Goa Institute of Management, and then corporate forums like NASCOM Product Conclave, a Startup Saturday, and Infocom Calcutta, and few others. And my primary area of interest is evolution and transformation, although I speak on some other subjects as well. And as I was saying, I also went through a lot of trainings to understand leadership, human behavior. You can see in right hand side, Dr. Edward Ibano's Six Thinking Hats, Leadership in 21st Century, and a lot of other programs. Also been sitting on the jury of PMI India Awards, and I was part of. I was doing the role of AVP membership for PMI Bangalore chapter, and I was the chief organizer for TEDx Calcutta 2010. Also organizer for NASCOM Product Conclave for a couple of years, and there are other programs that I have been doing. As I was saying, when we talk about leadership, we normally see a lot of these frameworks, a lot of these programs that you can see. We have programs from Gartner, we have programs from like books like Six Thinking Hats and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We have programs from Dale Carnegie, we have programs from different universities. So I went through all that to understand what is there. From last 4 5 years, I also took on a journey of reading books, all-time great books. And I have already completed 200 plus all-time best-selling books, primarily on human behavior, evolution, transformation, and leadership. You can see list of these books on my website niteshambus.com, and there is a section where I'm writing a book and what you can expect, that is also mentioned. So this is just a brief as how this framework came into existence. And if you see, I have named this framework as R5. You will come to know why it is called R5. And this is primarily a framework that is to develop you to transform your professional as well as personal career. In some form, you can transform your personal careers as well through this framework. We'll come to know as what people are using it for and how you can use it in your own career. So based on my studies and based on my research, I have realized that there are three things that we must know, must develop in when we talk about leadership. The first is decision making. It is very important, and if you see different research and different studies of highly successful leaders, most successful leaders are highly paid because of their decision making abilities. It could be a right or wrong decision. We are not going into that discussion right now, but that is one ability that is a must in any leader. They should be able to take quick decisions, effective decisions. The second ability that I personally find is very effective, or very effective in leadership is connecting the dots. We'll discuss more about it, but basically, if you go through different phases in your organization and life, how you can connect the dots and get a meaning out of it. So that is a very important skill, and that is the second skill according to me. The third skill that I really rate high is storytelling. So these three skills I feel is required in any leader: decision making, connecting the dots, and storytelling. When we go through this framework, we will also see how these three things are incorporated, so that you can not just improve on this but also demonstrate these skills in your day-to-day life. A normal duration of this framework, this program, is 6 months to 1 year. I have run it through 55 participants so far in a few organizations, and this is a self-driven, so you don't need any help from anyone to drive this program, drive this journey. Sorry. So the first step of this program is realize, and the basic purpose of this stage is to explore your own potentials, develop a personal development plan, and understand what is your potential in your journey. There could be a lot of things in this stage. There are one-on-one sessions that you normally do with your mentor. If you have already identified, if you have not identified, we need to do that as well. We do a lot of personality assessment tests. You might have heard of different tests already in the market. We also do some tests to understand what is your personality. You can, if you want to try it out on your own, you can check out a lot of personality assessment tests that are freely available on internet. You can do that. You also need to discuss it with your mentor, especially when you are going through the realize stage, as you are exploring your potential. And at times what happens that we may not realize what is our true potential. I also recommend to do a short analysis when we do this kind of realization. Short analysis, basically your strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat. So we basically do that to understand where is our strength and where is our weaknesses, what are the opportunities in our area, and what are the threats. So this step is really important to understand what we are good at and where we can move from here. The second step in this journey is refresh, and this step is basically for brushing up your skills. Suppose you are trying to start your own company, there might be some skills that you already have, and there might be some opportunity that you can tap in. And if there are areas, for example, if you want to start your organization, you have everything but you are lacking in communication, you can brush up your knowledge here, you can brush up your skills here. Suppose you do not have required funding, then you can brush up your skills as how to get funding from different sources that we have. So that is the second step. So, and this also goes in iteration. So unless you are sure that you are ready with the required skills, you go in iteration. After refresh, you would analyze that whatever skills you require, whether you have already in your hand or not. If not, then you'll go through the this iteration again, realize and refresh. So this is iteration that will go on till you are sure that you are ready for the next step. The next step in this journey is record, and this is where the actual work happens, and that is the crux of this entire framework. So here is where you will demonstrate your skills. So whatever skills you have realized and refreshed, and as was giving the example of starting your own organizations, if you are starting your own organization, this is the phase you will actually start your organization, and you will do the hands-on experience. There could be interactions with your mentor as well, but there would be a lot of real-time learnings here. And you will collect feedback from your stakeholders with whom you are working, and then you will elevate yourself to the next level. So if you see the journey, like first step is where you will you have to do your short analysis, you have to understand your strengths, weaknesses. Second step, where you will actually refresh what is required for your journey. Third step is actually the journey that you are carrying forward. The fourth step is refine, where you'll go back and check whatever you are doing is actually aligned to your goal or not. So basically, this is where you are actually aligning your small task to a bigger task. You will have a roadmap, and you will check your roadmap on a regular basis here, that whether you are going in the right direction, or is there anything lacking that you need to correct on. There might be occasions where need to do upskilling. There might be area, for example, if you are starting, you might feel that there might be help needed in finance. You are not able to manage the finance as you grow on in your organization. So those are the areas that you'll identify here in refine, and then you'll brush up on those things again. The fifth stage is reflect. So once you are let's say 80% in your journey already completed, then you'll do a reflect section where you'll retrospect as what you have been doing, whether it is the right thing and whether it is actually meeting your goals. And you'll also do a storytelling session, and that is where the storytelling part is coming in. You might have your team, you might have your stakeholders, you'll do a storytelling of the entire journey, and you'll get the feedback again. As this is my journey, I'm doing uh, this particular work, and this is what I have achieved so far, this is my next target. And this is the storytelling part. So if you see the three skills that I was talking about, decision making, connecting the dots, and storytelling, is actually reflected in this framework. And if you follow in your life, you can actually improve on these three things. Decision making is where you will realize your the first step, where you are actually understanding your potential, understanding what you are good at and what where you need to work on. So that is where you are taking the first decision. And when you are doing the second part, refresh, again you are connecting the dots. Suppose you have a goal of starting your own business, what are the skills you already have and what are the skills that is required? That is where you connect the dot. So you identify that out of 10 skills that you have identified, 8 you already have, 2 you need training on, or maybe work on those 2 areas. And then in the record phase also, you will start connecting all these dots, like your strength, weaknesses, as well as your skills. And then you will actually go ahead and implement this your skills in the record part. So if you see, the record part is the actual section where the implementation of your work is happening. And this from stage 3 to stage 5 is again on iteration, because there are a lot of places I have seen where people do not probably get what they want in just one iteration. So suppose I have a, let's say, a goal for achieving a particular business success in, let's 6 months. I'll divide that into 6 different iterations, and every month I'll go and repeat that. So I do certain works in record part, refine, reflect in 1 month. In second month again I'll go back to record, refine, and reflect, and so on. So there would be 6 iterations that I can actually do here. So if you see, this is also meeting with the agile philosophy, that you don't want to set goals in one go and then review that goal at the end of the your program. You want to do that in every iteration. You can divide it into 6, 10, 12, based on what you want to achieve. And as I was saying, although this program is run for 6 months to 1 year, and we at least we have set of mentors also who provide this mentorship, but this is something that you can drive on your own. You don't need any help. If you just start from realize and go on, you can do on your own. You don't need any help from anyone if you are actually following this these steps. So if you are self-motivated and self-driven, and that approach, if you can see, it's a self-driven approach, you can actually do this on your own. You just need probably a mentor. There could be a person in your team, it could be your manager, it could be your friend, it could be anyone from your family. Sorry. If you feel that there is someone who is ready to discuss with you and you are going on this journey, you can do it on your own. You don't need help from anyone else. But yes, for a structured manner, we do provide kind of this framework where people go through this and they discuss with the people who are going through. Suppose there's a batch of 10 people who are going through this program, so they can discuss and they can learn from each other. So that is also there. But the entire philosophy of this program is that you can do this on your own. You just have to follow steps and go one by one. And then at the end of the day, you will see that you will be improved in these 3 areas: decision making, connecting the dots, and storytelling. Now I could see, when I started the program, I could see some of the people were putting expectation that team building, maybe motivating the team, or how to reach the next level in your career. I believe if you focus on the basics, all those things can be achieved. For example, if you know your strength and weaknesses, you can actually connect that with your team. So suppose communication is your strength, you can always focus on that and interact with your team, so that team understands, and there is a good connectivity between you and your team. Secondly, if you feel that let's say organization use your skills, or getting into details is your skills, you can utilize that for connecting with your teams. The second part is, if you actually help your team to develop themselves or transform themselves using this framework or any framework that you feel is applicable, and if they feel empowered and transformed with you as a manager, uh, very well they can connect with you, because everybody wants to transform their life to the next level. And if you can help your people to do that, they would be connected and they would be working closely with you on that. The second part is storytelling. If you are able to communicate a message that is from the organization or the larger goal that you have, you can connect with your team. What happens most of the time that people are not able to see the larger picture, and that is where we find most of the disconnect in the team. So if you give that message, the larger picture to your team, you'll find very well people are connected with your goals and they can align really well. So I believe if you follow the basics, as I keep on saying, decision making, connecting the dots, and storytelling, you can motivate people, you can transform their lives, and you can have a very good team bonding as well. Also, this program is mainly for your own development as leadership. You can use it within your teams as well. So you can probably form a group of 5 to 6 people from your team, and you can ask them to go through this and share at the end of the journey, or maybe at the end of the iteration, as we are saying, a storytelling part. And then you would realize that how much transformation has happened through this program. So that's about this framework. I'll move to the next part, as what we have been doing. At least I have run this program with 55 people so far. You can see the breakup. That's not important so far, but I have seen some real transformation. I could see 3 startups that has already come up out of this small batch of 55 that we have seen. And success, again, it's very difficult to put into the measures, but I would see success that I had set certain goals before starting this program, and whether I could achieve that goal 70 to 80% or not after end of the program. That way the success is around 92%. The next step is how you will get more about, because I was telling in the beginning that I'm going to convert this program into a book, so that everybody is able to understand and they can understand what are the details that is required in every step. And I am planning to write a book which is already there in the plan. And there's a section on my website, you can see upcoming section. You can go and fill your details. I'll provide more information about the upcoming book that I'm writing. And this is one of the frameworks. I plan to cover 5 frameworks that is essential for any organizational transformation. So I'll put it there. But if you want to know more about it, you can just provide the basic information here, and I'll connect with you more on that. So let's go back to this framework, and I'll put on the this question mode. Let me see if I have more question. Okay. I could see a lot of questions already. How do you find a good mentor, and what's makes for a good mentor? I'll stop my screen so that I can interact more with you face to face. And I could see some questions. When you say storytelling, what do you mean, and is there a way to become a better storyteller? Yes, I would like to answer that, and let me narrate a story which is also put up on YouTube. I did that a couple of months back. Uh, there was a lady in Punjab, a very old lady, around 80 to 83 years old, and she was interacting with her grandchildren. And one of her grandchildren asked, "What is that you regret in your life?" And this old lady replied that, "I regret that I could not make any money in my entire life." This grandchildren was really surprised, but they thought, let's help this lady, and let's see what happens. She knew that this lady is good at sweets making. She said, why don't you make sweets, and we'll advertise and we'll sell it so that you can make some money. This old lady said, okay, why not? I'm already at 283 and I make good sweets. Why there's no point, like there's no reasons why I cannot do this. And they started with Beshan Laddu. And today that like they started at a small scale in one of the small cities in Punjab, and today it has become a big food chain, Swiss chain. It's called Harbhajan's, and that lady is Harbhajan Kaur, and she started all this at 82, 83 years old. It all started because she was interacting with her grandchildren about the success and failures of her life. So when you want to do a storytelling, the best way you can do is always relate it to the people. So when you have any story, if you relate it with people and what is the impact of that on people's life, that can become a good story. It could be a professional objective as well. Suppose your organization is doing something or launching a new product or launching a new marketing campaign and all. If you narrate a story that how this particular product or campaign will impact people's life, that would be the best story. So my suggestion would be to always related to people rather than product, service, finance, numbers, all that, because all that is important, but people connect with people more than all these numbers and finances. So that's important. The second question I see is, what's the time period in the framework for each step? I do not see any fixed timeline, because for some people, as I have seen, the step is longer than other steps, because most of the people are not aware about their strengths and weaknesses. I have seen majority of them are not aware. And when you start interacting with people, we do a lot of analysis, like you can find it on internet also, the short analysis. You also do 360-degree feedback, where you collect feedback from different people. You can collect blind feedbacks as well, to understand what are your real strengths and what are your opportunity areas. So I see some people take more time in realize, some people take more time in let's say record, because they feel that for example startups, for them it's not easy to transform from zero some game to let's say $1 million company. So some people take more time in record part. So there's no hard and fast rule, and that is where it's flexible. I say that it normally takes from 6 months to 1 year, depends on what is your requirement, what you want to do. But I would say that the most important step is realize. You should realize that what is your strength, what is your weaknesses. Unless you do that, other steps are not relevant, will not be adding any value to your transformation journey. So focus on the realize part, understand your potential, and that will help you in your real life also, if you can do that really well. Let me go to the next question. I don't manage a team, I work in marketing. How does this framework apply to me? So as I was saying, this is not for the team management. Team management is just one aspect of leadership. It's not the full leadership. This leadership is mainly for individuals who want to transform their life. If you work in marketing, you might have some targets. I'm just talking about your profession right now, not the personal life. You might have some targets, uh, professional, personal, whatever. You want to achieve that target, and then how will you go about that? So you have to go through this journey to understand that how will you actually achieve. And this is not something that you will do full time. This is something that will be running in back of your mind. You can actually create a template for, as I said, to start with short analysis, to understand your strengths and weaknesses. What are the trainings you might need, what are the brush up skills you might need, then what are the programs that you are doing. You just keep a track of that as well. I have developed some framework, like some templates as well, which again, if you enroll to the upcoming part, I'll share some templates that is again going to be part of the book also, that if you are not able to do it on your own, you can actually use these templates. So simple Excel templates that you can fill and track your journey, and that would be really helpful. The next question is, how do you find a good mentor, and what makes for a good mentor? So I would suggest again, if you could see the presentation that I was showing, and also if you read about coaches and mentors, most of the time we do this mistake that coaches or mentors are required to be from our own area. That's not required at all. If you see the coach of Silicon Valley, the name is William Campbell, and he was actually a football coach. He was not from IT background or not from any technical background. He was a football coach, and he became one of the most successful coaches of Silicon Valley, and we call him the coach of Silicon Valley. There's a book written, Trillion Dollar Coach and Trillion Dollar this from uh, Apple CEOs as well. So basically, I'm trying to say is, someone who could understand, connect with you, could be a good mentor. It may not be from your area, it may not be from your profession. So good mentor is someone who can connect with you, who can interact with you on a real good way. Is there any AI model for generating stories for a given data domain? I'm not getting. Is there any AI model for generating stories for? Uh, I personally feel, again, I deal with AI and ML on a day-to-day basis. In fact, I manage a team in AI and ML. But I feel that when it comes to storytelling and connecting with people, we should realize more on the human to human connection. And why this is important? Because we have evolved as a human, modern human, over a million of years, and that is one of my preferred, or my favorite research area as well, the human evolution. If you see, most of the questions that we want to answer from our own life, we can get the clue from our evolution. For example, why we are so emotional, whether we should take emotional decision or logical decisions, whether snap decision is good or bad, whether we should think about taking a decision, or whether we should go with our instinct. So all these complex questions can be answered by our evolution if we understand our own evolution. AI will take time to mature, and I personally feel that when it comes to people connection, we should realize more on the human connections rather than any AI and all. Also, a storytelling, I believe we connect more with people, because most of the time communication, 80% of more than 80% communication is not just textual. It depends on your facial expressions, your eyes, your body language, your all these parameters make a story rather than just a text model. So I would suggest go for more human interactions when it is about storytelling and all. I could see some. Is this framework applicable also for students? And yes. So as I see right now, I see only few students who are interested and who probably opting for this. And most of them are MBA students, management students who have gone through different leadership frameworks already, who have understood organizational behavior, leadership, and they want to improve on that. Because if you go and Google about it, you'll find thousands of different leadership frameworks, and sometimes it becomes really confusing. And that is where I was researching for 3 4 years about reading 200 plus books and going through all the frameworks that is available, most of them. And I find it very confusing as when to use which framework. I could not find anything which is simple and very effective. And that is where I decided that I'll develop this. So I feel that this is really important for everyone, even students can benefit. Sorry. Because it's not just about professional life, it's also about our personal life. If we understand our own potentials, it will help everywhere. So yes, our students can also benefit from this. Next question. In terms of reflection, how do you know if you are actually improving, as judging yourself can? Absolutely, I guess you are right that if you are reflecting on your own journey, it might not be helpful. And that is where I said that you need couple of things. One is definitely you need a mentor. If you are not finding it in your own circle, you should take professional help. But you need a mentor. If you are working in an organizational setup, you can rely on your manager, or maybe on one of your team members, one of your friends. So a mentor is required. Secondly, when you are analyzing yourself, don't do it alone. Do it in, let's say, 360-degree feedback, or maybe a blind feedback from people. In our college days, I remember we used to pass sheet, and then this sheet, and people used to write about us without writing their names. So all these techniques you can apply, but at the end of the day, this is your journey. You have to analyze. Suppose you get 20 feedbacks, and you have to analyze as what is the right feedback for you, what where you want to improve on. Every journey is individual's journey, right? You have your own journey to take, and you know which area you want to improve on. You can choose your own battles, you can choose your own areas for improvement. So at the end of the day, you have to take the decision. But yes, you can't rely just on your own instinct. You have to rely on the larger audience as well, that is your stakeholders. The next question I see is, if you are managing a team, how can you get them to apply the framework so they become better leaders? uh, yes, the individual journey is important here. And first and foremost, that there should not be any force. So if you are managing a team, you cannot go and force this framework on individuals, or not just this framework but anything on your team. You just make it voluntary. You ask your team to opt for it. You have seen the transformation, and if you have applied it in your own life and you have seen the transformation, you can actually go and ask your team that why don't they apply this. So I assume that if you're managing a team of 20, even 5 people opt for this, people volunteer to apply this framework, absolutely fine. And once they see the real potential of this framework, once they see the success of it, they will cascade the message to others, and others will also use it. So I would say, don't make it a forceful, like mandatory for people. Ask. The first step is to ask voluntarily, as who wants to implement this. Even if it is 10 to 20% people who are voluntarily asking to implement this, let them do that. Once the success story comes, it will be cascading to others as well. There is something called word of mouth, that is the most successful way of spreading the message. So yes, that can be used here. Sorry. Other questions? Can you share the template here? There are multiple templates, not just one. Short analysis you can anyways find on internet, it's there. How to track your task and all, you also find on internet. But yeah, there are a lot of templates that is there, that I have planned to include in the book. So there's not just one that I can share it here. But if you connect with me, I have given the form. I can share the template that is that you are looking for. So SWOT analysis, anyways, you can find on internet. But if you want it to want it from me, you can just ping me. Any other question? The storytelling part can also make you do better pitches. Absolutely, like when you are making any pitch within your organization or outside or for your startups, if you are doing it in a storytelling way, it actually helps. And I would suggest that use this connecting the dots and storytelling together. So one of the sessions I was taking for an MBA college in Bangalore, and I asked that Bangalore would not have been a city if French Revolution would not have happened. And there is a connection between French Revolution to Bangalore as a city. And there are so many such connections across business, across your individual lives. If you can make these connections, the life will become easier, and you can actually connect with people in an easy way. So that is really important. Like investor pitches. See, investors are also humans. If they get a good story that how or why this product that is being developed is important, and how why this can, like how this can transform people's life, they would be interested in that. uh, and you should also understand that at the end of the day, uh, if they connect with the idea, they connect with the product, they will go and invest that, rather than just giving the facts and numbers, because facts and numbers they deal with day in day out. And if they have a good story, they will always go ahead and invest in that. So one of the stories, like you might have heard about Android, Andy Rubin's and Larry Page's conversation. So when Andy Rubin was developing this Android, he interacted with Larry Page about investment. And Larry Page said that I can invest only if you become part of Google. And Andy Rubin said, I can be part of Google, but I want to run my individual journey. I don't want to be answerable. I don't want to do anything. And this conversation is very important. Like you interact with people, you have a conversation, you have a story for your idea. And even big leaders like Larry Page and Mark Zuckerberg and all will agree with you if you have a really good storyline. So that's how this Android came in picture, and that storyline is really important to understand. Yes, ping me. I guess I have given the form. I can share the PPT. There's nothing hard and fast. It's only pictures that you see in the PPT. So I'll put that slide also on the site if you want. Just one slide, 5 steps, and that's all. Others are just pictures, but I can share that PPT on the page that I mentioned, the upcoming page. I'll put the URL also if you want, again, for you guys to take a look. So those who are looking at the PPT, I'll share the PPT here. I'll upload that PPT so that you can get the framework. I believe we have already exceeded 2 minutes. Any other questions, or otherwise we can wrap up? I'm not sure about the organizers if they have gathered questions from any other platform that they want me to answer. I do not see anything as of now. So it was nice interacting with you, and I see some very relevant questions that all of us has when we go and interact with people to transform our lives. And this is a very interesting subject. I have been working on this for almost 4 5 years, as you can see, almost complete reading 200 plus books. Where is the book? Book is not yet launched, but it would be launched. And I want people, set up people who are interested about this subject. They can form a exclusive club and interact with it. I'll also share the glimpse of the book before it is actually launched, so that you know what is coming in, and you can also talk about that. So the book is not yet launched, planning to launch it in Feb March next year, with 4 other frameworks. This is for leadership. I have frameworks for strategy, innovation, communication, and transformation. And I feel these 5 topics are actually important for all of us, especially in organizational setup. So leadership, uh, transformation, communication, innovation, and strategy. So these 5 frameworks I would be putting in there, and it would be launched in Feb and March. Yeah, strategy is a very important part as well, and I'm trying to simplify that as well. Right now, there's no plan to do a talk on strategy. We have a plan to do on innovation sometime in December. I'll confirm that. But strategy, we have not yet planned. Thank you so much. And I'll switch off now, but I'll be connected through my website. If you want to just put it in information, I'll include you to be part of this exclusive group that is getting glimpse of the book before it is launched. Thank you all. Thanks. Bye bye. Bye bye.